another episode of the Kanika Sports Show, everybody. Happy Friday. Happy Rivalry Weekend. I am your host, Kenny Time, and I am joined once again, as always, by the one, the only, Nika, the producer. Welcome, Nika. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you and happy Friday to our new and returning listeners. Welcome to the Rivalry Weekend. It's a hard word for me to say.
Oh, it's going to be fun. I'm going to try and make her say it more times, you guys. I promise. It is Rivalry Weekend here in MLB, and this is like new. It's kind of been close to this before. We've had bunches of these games kind of grouped together, but never before have we had all the teams playing their rivals on the same weekend. So yeah, we have right now, in fact, Rivalry Weekend has begun, Nika. The White Sox are playing the Cubs, and I just happened to see Pete Crow-Armstrong hit a 3-run home run, as Harry Carey used to say. Holy cow, Nika.
No shit.
Well, the kid continues to do it, and we are going to talk about Pete Crow-Armstrong a little bit later on in the show. But I wanted to kick the show off with Rivalry Weekend because this is fun to me. It's fun that we can kind of have everyone, you know, aside from Cubs, White Sox. Do you have the schedule up?
Yeah.
Nice. So you can look at all the games we got here. And MLB posted this tweet, and they kind of pointed out some of the storylines that we can see. Juan Soto is going to be making his return to the Bronx for the first time, so he's playing at New York Yankees. Chris Sale and Garrett Crochet are going to be pitching against each other in Boston, and the Twins, everybody, have not lost since we've been on Monday and Wednesday, I guess, but they have not lost yet. They carry this now 11-game winning streak into Milwaukee.
Wow. Do you think this winning streak's going to last, or they might burn and go to the sunset?
It's tough. I mean, first things first. I guess before I answer this, do you buy Minnesota and Milwaukee as rivals?
In football, maybe, but in baseball, not so much.
Yeah, I think they're playing on the football rivalry here. I mean, they're kind of old AL Central Division rivals. If you go back that far, you will know that the Brewers once upon a time were an American League team and then jumped ship to the National League, and the Astros jumped ship to the American League. So, anyways, I don't know if the Twins and Brewers are like true rivals. I kind of agree with Nika that they just playing on Packers and Vikings fans' emotions here a little bit, and kind of just saying like, well, that's a good rivalry. This should be a rivalry. And I don't know. If you look at the matchups, you have Detroit at Toronto, and I saw this rivalry being questioned a little bit, but those two cities are 232 miles apart. I did not know that. That's not really that far at all.
No.
So I can kind of buy that as a rivalry because I think that's probably closer than Minneapolis and Milwaukee are, if I'm being frank. I've driven those distances, and they are not short drives. So, yeah. Any other matchups on here that seem like a stretch to you, Nika?
Yeah. Mariners and San Diego. It's like,
well, they are rivals now. We're going to get into that in a minute. But before we get off of this, I think everything on here legitimately makes sense. If you're curious about the Atlanta-Boston connection, well, they both used to have a team named Braves. Boston Braves existed. They also had the Red Sox. They had two teams like the White Sox and Cubs and the Mets and Yankees. Boston once upon a time had two teams.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, and then the Colorado-Arizona one, I'm having a little bit of a struggle with. But I also feel like they had no other place to put these two teams.
Do you think they're trying to make a rivalry out of those two? I mean, it makes no sense, really. But
yeah, I don't know. I think by default, they were both expansion teams after the 1990 era. You know, they both were added in the 90s. So the Padres and Mariners were both added, I think, in '69.
Mm-hmm.
So they have that in common with each other,
Okay.
and Arizona and Colorado have that in common with each other. But yeah, they are a little bit of a stretch. It's not like Houston and Arlington / Dallas. It's not like the Cubs and White Sox inner city rivalry, Mets, Yankees, inner city rivalry, Tampa Bay and Miami, like South Florida rivalry, Kansas City and St. Louis, Midwestern rivalry.
Yes.
So Pittsburgh and the Pirates, I'm sorry, they are the Pirates. The Pirates and the Phillies, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, interstate, Washington, and Baltimore. That's a great one. Those cities are really close together.
But in all those teams, this whole weekend is made on purpose as such to be a rivalry because it used to be spread out more.
Yeah, it's funny. You know, I want to point out that MLB that had the Juan Soto slide on it because it says, you know, Juan Soto's playing at the Yankees, and I expect high drama with that situation. But by contrast, what they did not say is, you know, Ohtani will be playing against the Angels and his old team, and it's not the same. It definitely is not. It's like they're so grateful to Ohtani, and I just wish Angels fans had a little bit more backbone. But also these games are in Dodger Stadium and not on the Anaheim side of things, closer to Disneyland. So it doesn't have like the away. It's not like Ohtani playing at his old home either.
Yeah.
He's just playing against his former team this time. There will be another rivalry weekend where everyone will flip-flop stadiums and play as the opposite.
Okay.
If they're the home team this time, they will play as the away team.
But not this season.
Not this season.
Okay. Moving on.
Moving on, I mentioned Juan Soto, and he is playing at Yankee Stadium for the first time since signing that very lucrative contract with the inner city rivals, the Mets. And I wonder if he did that without remembering that he would have to play at Yankee Stadium now, not twice, but now 3 times every year until the remainder of this contract is over, 15 times. This will be the first of those 15 years. And our good buddy John Heyman got a quote from him. It's posted in the New York Post. And John Boy clipped this, and it says, quote, "It's going to be 50,000 people against one. They're going to try to get on me, whatever they do. They have the right to do it." And yes, they do, Juan.
At least he knows what to expect.
Yeah, I think he's just having a little bit of fun with this, and he's expecting. It's probably best to go in expecting the worst, right?
Is he taking a subway to the stadium?
I would not recommend taking the subway.
Okay.
Although I don't know what traffic's like these days. Maybe it's a better alternative. You tell us, New York, what is the best option to get to the game? Traffic, subway. I'm going to stick with traffic as my gut instinct. And
Really
probably
like
a
car?
hired driver or something. If I'm
for
Juan
him,
Soto,
yeah.
or maybe my penthouse is just like below or above Citi Field itself. I don't know. But we're not playing there. You got to go to the Bronx. So.
Right. So.
All right. Well, maybe Juan has his old apartment still from last year, and he can just stay there tonight.
No, it's a possibility.
Tomorrow night. Last night.
It's only. Is it two games or 3 games?
3 games.
Oh, it is.
So yeah, that's another interesting thing about Rivalry Weekend is last year these games were 2-game series twice a year, and this year I noticed that they're 3 games and they're celebrated as more of a rivalry weekend all at once. So that's kind of cool, and I'm glad they are mixing it up. I don't know what was sacrificed on the schedule for those 2 extra rivalry games. I don't know which games got lost. So we talked about the Padres and the Mariners being sort of weird rivals, Nika, and well, they've had a little bit of spice to the fire, and we talked about this on one of our podcasts a couple months ago, but it's worth remembering. This is a March 14th post from Major League Baseball that says the Mariners and Padres will face off in the Vedder Cup. Yes, there is now a cup named after legendary Pearl Jam musician Eddie Vedder, and it says each year the winner of the annual series will get to keep the Vedder Cup trophy, which was designed by Eddie Vedder himself. Very cool. Vedder is a Rock and Roll Hall of Famer as lead singer of the legendary band Pearl Jam. I just said that, and is a one-time resident of both San Diego and Seattle. In case you were wondering, the connection, there it is. He called both cities home. And I find all of this really ironic, considering I remember Eddie Vedder singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" at a Cubs game, and like I've kind of thought he was a Cubs fan. I think he's even taken in a few Cubs games. I don't even know. But nevertheless, he's now tied to these two franchises by cup and bearing his name. It says, as you can see, May 16th through the 18th will be at Petco Park, and then August 25th through 27th at T-Mobile Park. Speaking of not being able to talk. So I'm guessing that August 25th through 27th will be the next rivalry weekend in baseball.
Okay. That's a new thing, the Vedder Cup.
It is.
It's this season, I think. I don't think we had Vedder Cup last season.
No, they didn't. That's
new.
why I played this tweet, is because this is when they announced it was this year that it was happening. And I guess, like I said, I never really considered the Padres or the Mariners to be quote unquote rivals, but apparently Major League Baseball wanted it to be so. And this year they added some stakes, and I'm here for it. You know, I think there's a cup for the White Sox and the Cubs too, or there was at one time. I don't know if it's still there. So, you can see in the bottom in the fine print there, it says, as part of this annual series, the Mariners and Padres will come together in support of Eddie and Jill Vedder's Epidermolysis bullosa research partnership. I apologize if I butchered that name. Epidermolysis?
I don't know.
I'm just going to stop now while I'm behind. But it is a rivalry this weekend. So breaking news for Padres fans, there will be no City Connect uniforms tonight, Nika.
Oh, no.
Instead, we are going to battle, and we are wearing these new or improved camouflage hats.
Oh.
As part of Armed Forces Weekend. We've declared war on the Mariners, Nika.
Sweet.
I got to say, out of all the Padres hats, I think I'm digging this one a lot. I like it. I like the backwards American flag. I like the camouflage look. I'm digging it. And on Sunday, they will join these hats with the camouflage uniforms for Military Sundays. And yeah, I'm here for it. So no City Connects tonight. No mint green. No Miami Knights, whatever you want to call those jerseys.
The bright color ones.
Yeah. We're going to have these hats, and we're going to have the brown and gold.
I do like the hats because it's not just white. It's off-white or taupe skin colors. And because it's so hot, when you have a white hat, you can always see the stain marks and the dust and all that stuff. And this kind of covers it up nicely.
Yeah, it will blend in if it's like the camouflage.
Perfect.
It's one of those that can kind of get beat up over time and maintain its aura, if you will.
Right.
And the American flag on there is just a really sharp touch, I got to say. You know, as baseball is the American game, you got to love it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this game tonight is not going to be on your regularly scheduled programming. Instead, it will be on Apple TV. The Mariners head to San Diego to face the Padres tonight on Friday Night Baseball. And if you've been following our podcast, you'll know that the Padres and Mariners are like two of the best teams, literally, in baseball right now. Although the Mariners have been on a little bit of a slide lately. They had a rough homestand against the Blue Jays and Yankees, respectively. I believe they dropped 5 out of 6 games.
Ooh, ouch.
Yeah.
At home?
At home. They've also suffered some setbacks with their pitching staff, and they are hurting a little bit right now, and it makes you wonder if the Padres are catching them at the right time. Stephen Kolek will be pitching tonight for the Friars, and we have Nick Pivetta and then Michael King again over the weekend. All right. Well, it was an interesting week for Padres fans because we had to endure our first blown save from Robert Suarez this year on Monday night. And boy, oh boy, was that a tough one to endure. I saw it happening in the meltdowns on social media, in my own house. The meltdowns were there.
Oh, I know. I witnessed it.
You witnessed it. Yeah, I excused myself from first the bed and then the whole house completely. I had to get some fresh air at night. And I was not happy with the command. And, it's just so funny. You get so wrapped up into winning or losing one game. And then you, have to remind yourself, the Dodgers just got shut out by the Diamondbacks. And, they didn't probably expect to score 0 runs in any games this season. So the fact that they've been shut out is just probably mind-boggling to them. And it wasn't supposed to happen. But
they brush it off and move on. You have to. You can't dwell on the past.
Yeah, and it was our guy Jackson Merrill who actually made me feel better.
There you go. Because
he was talking about how you have to get over these things and you have to just move on to the next day, and that's baseball, and he didn't really sound happy about it when he said it, but at least he was my baseball psychologist this week and made me forget about what happened. Now the following night, we found ourselves back into a high drama situation at the end of the game. We were tied at 4 in the bottom of the 9th when this happened, Nika.
Oh, what is that?
Do you have the video? Oh, here we go. And that was it. Fernando Tatis Jr., his first career walk-off home run posted by MLB. You can see this was really cool. He got to celebrate with his teammates at the end there. I'm obviously ecstatic for him and for having this moment. Huge win. The Padres needed this. They lost that Sunday game in Colorado, and then to have the blown save on Monday night at home against the Angels, that was also ending a 4-game home losing streak for the Padres by winning that game. And then they came through and also won on Wednesday as well. So salvaging 2 out of 3 after blowing the save is about the best outcome you could hope for. But I noticed something about Fernando's home run here, Nika, and I was wondering if you could flip to the next slide because I slowed it down a little bit. And as you can see, I saw a lot of people saying that Fernando mistimed his stride here because there was a blatant pause before he swung the bat, but after he strided. And the reason why I want to point this out is because this is basically textbook definition how you're supposed to actually hit a curveball.
Okay.
And I feel watching baseball today that far too many hitters guess when they're at the plate. I'll often say to you oh, how can they take that pitch? It's right down the middle. He's guessing. He has to be guessing. And when I look at this swing, this is exactly how you're supposed to time up an off-speed pitch. Is you would stride, but then have the will and the recognition to keep your hands back before swinging. And even though this was not what was happening here, this was Fernando having his timing off and hitting a fastball. Mm-hmm. It's exactly how you're supposed to hit a curveball, ironically. So maybe he'll unlock that ability somehow through this. That would be fun. But
okay.
It's just something that I recognized and I thought was ironic, considering a lot of people saying that he was mistiming the fastball. It's actually textbook definition how you're supposed to kind of square up a breaking ball. And yeah.
And that was that was the walk-off, right?
That was the walk-off. And you also see he had the big leg kick again at the beginning of his swing. And we've been seeing more and more of Fernando drifting back to that. And I wonder if it's just not something he feels comfortable with the low stride. We'll have to see how it evolves and progresses as the season goes on.
Is that his adjustments that he has done during the off season?
Yeah, well, he had kind of kicked it. He had kind of gotten rid of the high leg kick. And over the past couple of weeks, I think during the home run slump, we slowly started to see it come back, and it's back. I don't know if it's back all the time. I'm going to be keeping an eye on it more closely than I have been. But
is that more of a timing mechanism for him, or you think he generates like more of a torque?
I would say timing and also just comfort level for him. It might be just how he feels more naturally comfortable hitting. And I think whenever you make adjustments or changes to your form, like in the middle of your career, there's always going to be a hesitancy to go through with it because of your past success. And anytime you go through any struggles with the new technique, you're going to always like kind of want to revert back to the old ways. So that's why I said we'll have to see how it evolves if he tries to go back to the new way, because ultimately they feel like that's better for the longer term success of his whole career and striking out less and all those things that were happening. That's all.
Okay.
Hey, speaking of walk-offs on Tuesday night, there was a lot of them, Nika, and one of them happened in Detroit against the Red Sox. It was Javier Baez, our old friend from the Chicago Cubs, going walk-off against the Red Sox, his second 3-run homer of the game.
Of the same game?
The same game.
Wow. Javi.
Javi. The Renaissance, according to Jeff Passan, the Javi Baez Renaissance is one of the coolest stories of the 2025 season. He's now hitting .319 with a .357 on-base percentage and a .513 slug, nearly 900 for the OPS. He has 5 home runs, 27 RBIs in 34 games at this moment. And this walk-off capped a night in which he hit a pair of 3-run homers, as I said. Wow, Nika. He definitely is taking notice here around the league. And on the next slide, we see Bob Nightingale already dubbing this the Javi Baez game. Those 2 3-run homers, including the walk-off, are good enough for an entire game to be named after him.
Wow.
The Renaissance is real, everybody. Or is it? Nika?
Is Javi the Renaissance man?
Are you buying into this resurgence from Javier Baez, the center fielder now for the Detroit Tigers?
I don't know if I buy this resurgency. I think Javi just got healthy. And the fact that he got moved to the outfield is less taxing on his body as an older player plays into it.
Do we have his career stats up there?
I will put them up right now.
Yeah. I am not fully buying in yet.
No?
I'm buying in on a couple things here for Javier Baez. I agree with you that he looks healthy and healthier than he has been in a while. I also would say that the Detroit Tigers are the best team by far in the American League to start this season, and that may have a little bit to do with this resurgence as well, where you look at yourself and you look around you and you're like, hey, we have a chance to maybe win this thing. We can go to the World Series. We can win the World Series. We have the pitching. We have the offense.
Well, they tasted it last season.
They tasted it, and they have a damn good manager in A.J. Hinch.
Absolutely.
So I think I'm buying into those things.
Well, those are good points. It's absolutely true. I hope he does well.
Yeah, the one area where I am struggling with is that I watched Javier Baez as a Cubs fan, and I know his weaknesses.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's fixed those things yet. Like when he starts facing pitchers that locate that slider low and away that he just swung over the top of all those years in Chicago, even during the good years, there was a lot of swinging and missing at the slider low and away. And I'm just concerned about that for him. And that as people realize, oh, Javi Baez is back, we actually have to pitch to him again.
Sure.
And struggle and pick him apart. All of a sudden, there will be a new dossier on him, and the numbers will start to revert back to the usual career numbers.
It's most likely might happen. I think with Javi is also the issue with his back. He had problems with his back, shoulder, back, and I think it all ties to his swing because he swings so hard
He does. He always had that really aggressive torque.
Yes.
When he swung, and it looked like he was trying to always hit the ball as hard as he could all the time. And not that you're not trying to hit the ball hard, but
there's a difference.
You can let your body do the work for you without exerting full maximum energy every time. We hear that with pitching and how that's not necessarily the best way to pitch if you want to have long-term sustained success.
Correct.
All right. Well, walk-offs were just all over the map. We go from San Diego to Detroit to now Chicago, Nika.
Oh,
where it was Tormund, Justin Turner for the Chicago Cubs, the ginger-haired utility man, the 40-year-old. He hits. He needed this hit.
Yeah.
He needed this hit so bad. He had been struggling, batting under 200. He still might be. I don't know. But he needed this hit. Everyone, and I think their mother, was calling into Chicago sports radio talk shows and calling for Justin Turner to be DFA'd. They were ready for this experiment to be over. Craig Counsell was starting to hear questions from media members and having to defend Justin Turner and saying that he's gonna get going, and so he needed this.
Definitely.
And there couldn't have been a better time for Justin Turner to get this hit. It was a beautiful hit and it was fun to watch. And the Cubs took the first two games against the Marlins. They did drop the third game now after a beautiful pitching performance by Ryan Weathers, of all people, for the Miami Marlins. And he looks like maybe he's back. We're going to keep an eye on him. But Tuesday night, this is crazy. Can you flip to this slide? There were 3 walk-offs, aside from Fernando's walk-off later on.
Mm-hmm.
These 3 walk-offs, Chicago over Miami, Houston over Kansas City. It was Isaac Paredes, another former Cub, and Javier Baez, another former Cub. Within 4 minutes, 3 Cubs or former Cubs go walk-offs in a current game within 4 minutes of each other.
That's crazy.
This is crazy. I don't think this has ever happened before. I would be shocked if it had.
No, it's a new stat, new milestone.
New milestone. Crazy stuff going on here in the baseball world Tuesday night.
But it's all connected to the Cubs, which is really bizarre.
It is.
Because it doesn't really happen. Even if you plan things out, it would never happen like that.
No, not at all.
No.
So, wild stuff going on. I mean, this just kind of reaffirms our point that we've talked about on this podcast a lot, which is that baseball and the teams, the worst teams, even I'll throw the Rockies in there, they can be dangerous,
Mm-hmm.
and we used to hear this talk about any given Sunday in the NFL, like any given Sunday, any team could beat any team, but I kind of feel like it's any given day now in Major League Baseball where any team can beat any team on any given day. And the talent level from team to team to team, you look, there's 20 game winners, 4 teams that have 20 wins in the AL Central, and there's 4 teams that have 20 wins in the NL West. Like, there's some really competitive teams out there, Nika.
Definitely. And all the teams get better.
They do. And the good teams find a way to win. You look at the Cubs, the Tigers. The Cubs should beat the Marlins at least 2 out of 3 games. The Tigers should beat the Red Sox right now, and the good teams find a way to win. You know who else was enjoying the celebration, Nika, from Justin Turner's walk-off was our guy, Pete Crow-Armstrong. Check out this video here of him and Justin Turner, who has his son with him, and they are celebrating the walk-off win together. And Pete Crow, man, what a guy. He just looks like such a fun personality for this Cubs team, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah. Is there audio to this one or not?
There's not.
Okay.
I didn't put the audio in there. I just wanted to. We don't need it. We just need to see Pete having a good time. I kind of equated this to like goo goo gaga kind of stuff. Like Justin Turner, if you can't see the video, his son is in his arms. He's, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 here.
He's a little, yes. He's like maybe 2.
But he does have a full head of that orange hair.
It's gorgeous.
He's so cute.
Yeah.
And so yeah, just to see him and Pete he's such a playful spirit, I think, for this Cubs team. And he had a really good night himself. This shot earlier from the same game was posted, and it said, "New screensaver unlocked." I'm going to take you up on that, Cubs, and make this the cover art for my show today. So appreciate you, because we are going to talk a little bit about Pete Crow-Armstrong here. And he is having fun. He hit another home run. This was his 11th of the year. And by the way, he hit another one today, so that's number 12.
All right, climbing up.
And I clipped this as well. We got no audio, but as you can see, Seiya Suzuki on Monday night hit a home run, and Pete Crow sneaking up behind him in the dugout and whispering something to him that is making Seiya Suzuki chuckle like a little kid. Nika, what do you think Pete was saying here to Seiya Suzuki? You got any ideas?
Where'd you lose your translator? I don't know.
Oh, do you think he asked him, like, did Ohtani really do it?
Oh, maybe. Or is he asking him, like, how is that juice you're drinking?
How's that juice you're drinking?
Or I don't know what he's drinking, but something.
Oh, well, good stuff. I mean,
it looks fun.
I've heard from people that they like this Cubs team because it looks like they have fun and play well together, having fun. And when you see these clips and these tweets come out, I think you can't help but buy into that a little bit.
I know
right?
what he says to him.
What did he say?
I'll put some mushrooms in your drink.
Oh, mushrooms.
Yeah, for more fun.
More fun later. Pranks.
PCA strikes me as a prankster.
Well, I think he's been eating his mushrooms.
Has he grown?
His Mario mushrooms.
Oh, has he been bigger?
Yeah, he has
buffed up.
Buffed up. Look at this. We can see here from his career numbers that he now has 21, and yes, it does not have today's homer, so now 22 home runs in his career, 12 homers on the season, and he has more home runs now this year than he had in his career coming into this year.
I have to say one thing about PCA. He looks like his mom.
He totally does have his mom's features,
yes,
for sure. So that's cool.
Just a random thought that occurred. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, you see her a lot from obviously the baseball movie, and
yeah.
So they show her during the Dodgers game, and she's the mom in Little Big League. If you didn't know, go look that up for your.
She was a baseball mom before she became a real baseball mom.
I know, she was well practiced, right?
Cool.
Ironic, and maybe that's just the way it was meant to be. But no, you can see here that he is just having a great start to this season. I think if you're a Cubs fan, this is probably the best you could have hoped for with Pete Crow. I mean, legitimately, if he was hitting for a little bit of a higher batting average, he could legitimately be an MVP candidate right now.
Well, he still has time.
Oh, he does have time, and it's a long season.
Yeah.
And the MVP race is heating up quickly, and I think Pete Crow-Armstrong deserves to have his hat tossed into that ring. And he's been hitting leadoff now all week
because of Ian.
Yeah, because of Ian Happ's injury. Ian Happ did decide to go on the IL after they said he was not going to go on the IL. And we played the clip on Monday that Pete Crow was going to go back in the order, and now he gets this extended shot at leadoff, and I just think he should stay there. I really do. He hasn't skipped a beat.
Well, make sure we get Greg Counsell.
I know he's playing the Marlins and the White Sox right now, but he hasn't missed a beat. He's doing all the things you want him to do, and he's hitting the ball well. So I would maybe start to think about the idea of keeping him in the leadoff spot. You see what it does for the Padres, and I can't help but think like Pete Crow is kind of like a hybrid of Tatis and Merrill, where he has like Merrill's youthful energy, but he has Tatis's power and speed, and he can be that spark plug at the beginning of your lineup. And I just think by the end of the season, when you have a end of the game, we've talked about it so many times. Why do the Dodgers, they can always get you in the ninth? Because Ohtani's always going to be coming up around then. And if they get that lineup turned over by then, like you always have a chance, but you want those hitters to have that extra crack, right? And who do you rather want up there? Do you want Pete Crow to have an extra crack at it, or do you want Ian Happ to have an extra crack at it? And if I'm a Cubs fan and I'm a Cubs manager, I think I'm going to start to maybe lean into this idea that it should be Pete.
I'm with you. It's a dangerous combination, like you said. Yet he's very different player.
And no offense to Ian Happ. I love Ian Happ. And he can get on base in the middle of your lineup and bring some production to the bottom of the order as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I respect Ian Happ, and I respect his ability to get on base. Yeah. I just think as I watch the game and the game evolve, I really want that spark plug up top, especially if I have it.
And it's contagious. Like even the clip before with Seiya and him being fun and talking and doing the interaction that we just saw, it shows as a club they have fun on the field.
Absolutely. This is not a knock on Ian Happ in any way. It's just a recognition of the value that I think Pete Crow brings to that leadoff spot. That's all.
And Ian is also a more mature player. He's a little bit older. He's more mature. He's been around.
100%.
He just got there.
100%. Hey, the Cubs were wheeling and dealing this week,
Oh, yeah?
Mika.
Who they got?
Yesterday, they decided to sign Kenta Maeda to a minor league deal. He was DFA'd earlier either this week or last week by the Detroit Tigers, and
okay.
Anyways,
not that long ago.
Yeah, this doesn't really do a whole lot for me. I clipped his stats because he's had a really rough start to the season. 7 games, 8 innings pitched for the Tigers, a 7.88 ERA, almost 2 walks or hits per innings pitched. Just wasn't getting the job done at all, and there's no room for him on the Tigers. If he's not doing the best team in the American League any services, I don't know why the Cubs would be interested in this guy. It seems like more like somebody for the Rockies or somebody that might be desperate for that kind of. But maybe the Cubs have seen something in him that they think they can unlock or add some kind of value to their bullpen.
Maybe Seiya needs a friend.
Maybe Seiya needs a friend. As you can see, he was from Osaka, Japan, but he's been here for a while. He's been here since 2016, and he is. He's in his 9th season, so he's probably really hoping to get 1 or 2 more seasons under his belt so he can get that tenureship, that 10-year benefits
season.
For life. Yeah. So he's got a lot to play for, honestly.
I hope he pans out for the Cubs, even if it's more of a relief pitching.
Yeah. Coaching goes a long way.
Yeah.
Different coaches reach different players. Not every coach is great for every it's not like the best coaches work with just all players. Some work differently, better with others. So Hopefully he finds a good pitching whisperer for himself to right his ship. The Cubs, not done wheeling and dealing. Because of that Ian Happ injury that we just mentioned, there was a roster spot available, and they have a minor leaguer who's been just tearing the cover off the ball, and the fans get their wish. Welcome to the show, Moises Ballesteros.
Ooh.
Now, this guy is a big dude.
Okay.
And he plays catcher as well as some first base. And I want to see how he fits in while Ian Happ is gone as well, and see if he can force the Cubs to make some difficult decisions.
Is he playing first or is he catching?
I haven't seen him in the field yet. He's been DHing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Different. Okay.
Because Seiya Suzuki's been playing left field while Ian Happ has been injured.
Okay. Because they just called up Kelly, the other catcher.
Absolutely. So Cubs making some moves, bringing up the youth movement. I do like it. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to lie. I like it when teams give young players a chance. I think Turner getting that hit is interesting timing because you call up Ballesteros, and then in the same game, Tormund gets the game-winning hit. And you have to figure if with the timing of it all, if Ballesteros had gotten called up while Ian Happ is injured with this oblique issue and performed well, would that have spelled the end of Justin Turner? So we'll have to wait and see how this shakes out. And Tormund, as I call him, Justin Turner, bought himself a reprieve for sure by getting that game-winning hit. And, I think they view him as a valuable veteran leader of this team,
For sure.
But at the same time, you can't be hitting under 200 in that role and keep your job. So, especially when there's a guy hitting almost 400 in the minor leagues and is major league ready by all intents and measures. So we'll see how this shakes out for the Cubs long term when Ian Happ comes back.
Is there a timetable for his comeback or not yet?
I don't know. He's got an oblique injury, and we can seen how these muscle pulls can be. They can be all over the place.
Yeah.
They can be 2 weeks. They can be 2 months.
Tricky situation.
It is a tricky situation for sure. Speaking of call-ups, the Dodgers. And catchers, they called up Dalton Rushing. He was their team's number 2 overall prospect. And, yeah, he's, by all intents, major league ready. And so he's here. He's playing. He's already got a hit.
Oh, he's been playing. Okay.
He plays. Yeah, he gave Will Smith a day off behind the plate, and then he's DHing. He's not going to get called up to sit down and sit on the bench, but the Dodgers kind of need some offense. They've been struggling on offense a little bit. I say that loosely because they do have Ohtani, Mookie Betts, and Freddie Freeman batting at the top of the order, but they also got shut out over the weekend by Arizona. They lost on Tuesday night to the Athletics at home. Did not score a lot of runs, I believe, in that game. So they call up Dalton Rushing to hopefully provide a spark while Teoscar Hernandez and Tommy Edman are hurt because they're missing a couple of those big bats that were helping them early on in this season. However, in doing so, the Dodgers had to part ways with one of their veteran leaders, Austin Barnes, who has been a backup catcher to Will Smith for these last few years especially. But he's been a member of the team since 2015 and a winner of 2 championships during that time with the Dodgers. So tough day for him, I'm sure, to have to get DFA'd now. But I'm sure he is grateful for those 2 World Series championships. And I don't think this was an unexpected thing,
Is he retiring or he's just being let go?
He's being let go, and I again, when these things happen, he is a coveted sort of defensive catcher, considered a good clubhouse guy. I got to think that with all the bad teams in baseball that we know exist, that there's probably still room for him somewhere in some kind of a leadership / mentorship role. Where that is, wherever that is, I don't know if he knows yet, but maybe an opportunity will present itself to him. So we'll wait and see. The Dodgers did turn things around against the Athletics, as you can see. They win the finale 19-2. They also won on Wednesday night, and they improved to 29-15 on the season, 14 games over 500 through 44 games. And they will host the Anaheim Angels. I call them Anaheim still, but they are the Los Angeles Angels now. They will host the Los Angeles Angels this weekend. But Shohei Ohtani is back, everybody. He has returned, Nika.
Nice.
Yes, as you can see from OptaStats here on X, the Dodgers' Shohei Ohtani has played 42 games this season. He already has 15-plus home runs, 10-plus stolen bases, 45-plus runs scored, and 25-plus walks. No one else in Major League Baseball history has put up those numbers over any 42-game span at any point in a single season. Just like that, Ohtani's back. I feel like just like a week ago, we were all talking about like how he wasn't a part of the MVP conversation even right now, and that his batting average was like in the 260s, and where is he and everything, and all of a sudden he's here. He's back, 15 homers, 10-plus stolen bases. He's doing it all. And he's playing like an MVP.
Yeah. Sometimes, you up and you down, and It's just a rotating wheel of life.
It is. I want to remind people that when the season started, Ohtani's wife was what, 8 months pregnant?
Something like that.
Seven and a
Because
half months pregnant. And then, a month into the season, he goes on paternity leave
Yeah.
for 2 games while she delivers their first child. And they had a beautiful baby girl. Congratulations again to them. But now life is kind of starting to get back to normal, right? And all of this other stuff that might have been on your mind, like, hey, I hope my wife has a healthy pregnancy,
right.
is over and part of the past. A new life is beginning again. And so you don't have that extra emotional weight on your mind. And you can start to just play baseball again. And I think that's exactly what we're seeing here with Ohtani as he resurfaces to the front of the MVP list. Now, I got to ask you, Nika, do you think Ohtani is really going to pitch after the All-Star break this year?
Well,
I mean, do you think it's for sure?
nothing is for sure. The only thing for sure is that you're going to die. Whether he's going to pitch, I hope he will, because it's been advertised that he will come back to pitching. It was May. Now it got pushed back.
That's a long pushback.
It has,
and it's got me thinking throughout the week, what is really going on here? We know that the Dodgers have a lot of pitching, but they also have a lot of pitching injuries. And we're going to talk about all of that in 1 second because we haven't even talked about the big one. But for now, I'm focused on Ohtani and the fact that it came out last week that he was not going to pitch again until now after the All-Star break.
Right.
And everything we had heard up until this point was that it was going to be before May or around the middle of May or maybe the end of May.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's after the All-Star break. And I have to point out this rule that was changed in the offseason by Major League Baseball that Ohtani did not have to, quote-unquote, recertify as a two-way player. Ohtani did not play on the pitching side of the game at all last year. He did not pitch 1 inning for the Dodgers. He had the Tommy John surgery in the offseason the year before. And he was unavailable to pitch all year because of that. He was able to swing the bat. And obviously he did so very well. Now, it was told that he was going to be pitching, and he has been doing bullpens, and he has been doing the work. We've seen the videos. We've seen the pictures. So we know he's doing the work to come back and pitch. But we also know that the Dodgers have a lot of pitching when healthy. They have a really crowded roster.
Well, they have
pitching,
2 pitching staffs.
at least. And so you have to ask yourself, if you're the Dodgers and you have 5 healthy arms, 6 healthy arms after the All-Star break outside of Ohtani, and Ohtani is doing what he's doing now offensively. He's just, he's got 30 plus home runs and 30 plus stolen bases and 90 runs scored, all this stuff, like things that no one's done in 84 games. You take the next 42 games.
Mm-hmm.
My point is basically what happens when the Dodgers decide, oh, we don't really need Ohtani to pitch this year to win it all. And then they decide not to pitch him. And Major League Baseball changed this rule in the offseason for them to allow them to carry an extra player all year. Ohtani still has a 2-way status right now. So they're carrying an extra player on their roster because of this.
Right.
And he hasn't pitched 1 inning this year. He didn't pitch 1 inning last year. And that was the rule that was changed in the offseason. It used to say if you 1 year elapsed, you had to recertify. You had to pitch in a certain amount of innings in order to be given 2-way status again. I personally don't agree that Ohtani should have to do this. And so at the time, I was like, I didn't see this as a big deal. But now feeling like that they're manipulating the situation, and if they were to go the whole season with carrying this extra player under the guise that like, oh, Ohtani's going to pitch at any moment for us, any moment, I don't know. It seems like a little bit shady.
It does.
And it just makes me wonder what happens when he doesn't come back and pitch.
Oh, I think we'll be hearing crickets.
I think we will be hearing crickets as well. except for this podcast, because we're going to be following this show or this story, and we are going to make sure to keep tabs on this, because that if that were to come to fruition, that would not be right.
I think we might hear some whispers on the side notes somewhere, like what's happening, why Ohtani's not pitching, and there will be a spin. There will definitely be a spin if this happens.
100% agree with you.
That it's something to do with his Tommy John being a second surgery or whatever. There will be a spin.
There will be a spin that it's like some kind of
foreseen something.
It'll be unaffecting to his offense. You know what I mean? It
Right.
will not prohibit him from going out and swinging the bat, but it will prohibit him from going out on the mound and pitching. I could see that situation. Totally. Okay. All right. Well, it's nice to see Ohtani's offense in action, even though we're Padres fans. You know, I like to see the Michael Jordan of baseball performing at a high level. I think it's good for the game.
Absolutely.
So it's nice to see him reemerge as the MVP player that he was last year.
Yeah.
And throw some extra interest into the MVP race. I mean, we've had such great starts from NL players. Fernando. We've talked about Pete Crow earlier. Kyle Tucker has his own argument before his recent slump. Pete Alonso is tearing the cover off the ball. So there's just so much action in the NL right now. And so I'm glad Ohtani was like, hey, hold my beer. All right. Well, we mentioned injuries and the Dodgers, and it wasn't all great news this week for the Dodgers because, first up, Tommy Edman was initially supposed to return this past Saturday. So this was even during the Diamondbacks series. Then he was going to come back against the A's on Tuesday, and now it doesn't look like he's even going to be playing this weekend against the Angels. He is not responding well to that treatment for his injured ankle.
What's wrong with his ankle?
Well, I mean,
just injured?
He injured
Twisted?
his ankle a few weeks back, and he went on the 15-day IL. And you know, they at the time, like a lot of teams do, they said it wasn't serious. And here we are a few weeks later, and apparently it's not responding well to treatment. So maybe it was a little bit more serious than everyone wanted to admit.
Sure.
All right. I skipped the injury music. Do you want to hit the injury report?
The injury report.
I feel bad. I skipped it. Call us a doctor, Nika. This is taking one.
Ready?
Yes, doctor.
Doctor, give me the news.
I must confess, you have an astonishingly good idea there, Doctor.
Damn it, man, I'm a doctor, not a torpedo technician.
Dr. Harris,
Yes?
do you concur?
Is there anything you can do, doctor?
Somebody give me a doctor.
All right. Well, we're going to keep it in Los Angeles for the injury report. And this is a big one, Nika. Roki Sasaki, the 23-year-old international free agent, signed in the offseason by the Dodgers, the most coveted free agent from Japan since probably Hideo Nomo himself. He heads to the injured list with a right shoulder impingement. This is a long line of pitching injuries for the Dodgers. He joins Tyler Glasnow and Blake Snell. Sorry, I was having trouble with the Tyler. There's so many pitchers, you can't remember them all.
And most of them are from the Dodgers.
Tyler Glasnow, they're all from the Dodgers. Tyler Glasnow, Blake Snell, and now Roki Sasaki with the shoulder impingement.
Do you think there's something in the water at the Dodgers Stadium?
I think there's something that is not right with Roki Sasaki for sure, because his fastball, even in spring training, has not gotten up to the miles per hour that we saw during even the World Baseball Classic in 2023. And so I think there's something that is physically ailing him, and this could be just the first step of really bad news in case there's some structural damage found in this shoulder. I'm sure the Dodgers are going to want to get that fixed sooner rather than later.
Oh, definitely.
And it could spell the end of his whole season. I don't know where we're at yet with this whole story. As you can see, this tweet was timestamped at 6:36 p.m. on May 13th. So we haven't had a lot of updates on this right now, and I don't know if he's had imaging and if they know more information than we do. We do know that Blake Snell threw this week for the Dodgers, and this was after he was scheduled to go see the doctor again on Monday. And the fact that he threw and they didn't comment on any of this and really get into any details, it makes me feel like they didn't find anything wrong with Blake Snell. And it makes me wonder what he thinks is wrong with him, and if it's like a little bit of a psychological thing with Blake Snell right now.
It could be.
So either way, none of these people are pitching for the Dodgers right now. Clayton Kershaw is scheduled to pitch this weekend. He's going to pitch one of these games against the Angels, so we'll see how he looks. After the last time we saw him was when he self-ejected himself out of a game in Arizona.
With his toe?
With his toe, never to be seen again last season. The Dodgers would go on to win the World Series without him, but they are probably really glad to see him coming back right now, considering that these three big names are all on the injured list right now. So speaking of season-ending shoulder surgery, we have Ben Joyce on the Angels side of things in Los Angeles. He is out for the season. I bring this up because he is, of course, known for throwing over 100 miles an hour, hitting highs of like 103, 105 even. Who cares? Look at what it's done to his shoulder. I mean, he's got impressive biceps in the picture. I mean, I'll give you that, but
that doesn't make you throw harder or faster or anything like that. It's something has to give if you start throwing so hard like this. There is a price for this.
Yes, I feel like the human body is being overexerted in order to achieve the miles per hour. The thing I'm most familiar with is cheating up your elbow during your wind up, and not doing a full circular rotation of things. But this is a pandemic, whether it's the elbow ligaments or now the shoulders. It seems like a lot of players are going down, and a lot of players are being looked down upon, for not throwing as hard. And yet we see Jacob deGrom, who committed to not throwing as hard, get a 1-0 shutout last night and go 8 innings pitched. And that's got to be music to the sight of Rangers fans' eyes.
Definitely.
Like they're probably happy to see him pitching out there for 8 innings right now. And it's all about location. Location always trumps velocity. I don't care.
So mechanics
Will help you control your location. Yes. Yeah. So, all right. Well, we're going to switch it up and turn our attentions to the minor leagues because our San Diego Padres got some unexpected news, at least to me. It was reported that their catching prospect, Ethan Salas, who is about to turn 19, has a stress reaction in his lower back. Now, I'm not a doctor, but I remember last year when Fernando had a stress reaction in his leg, it was all but said that it was a fracture. And so I'm wondering, does our catching prospect have a fracture in his lower back right now? And that doesn't sound good if I'm a catcher. He's expected to be sidelined for about 2 months, putting a potential return to action in July. So this is interesting news for the Padres because, A.J. Preller likes to wheel and deal. And I got to feel like your superstar catching prospect that has a potential fracture in his lower back won't be worth as much as he otherwise should be. If you were wanting to trade him for, a left fielder perhaps, or some kind of a starting pitcher if you should so need, I don't think he's going to be traded at all. And
not in this condition. And as a minor.
Not with this. I would say he's staying put for a while, and hopefully for the best. Hopefully he can just come back and show that this was nothing and, play better than he has. He has not done so great in Double-A, and nor did he finish the year too strong in A+ ball last year. So I think there is some long-term concern about Ethan Salas and like whether he was overvalued and we should have unloaded him sooner. That's the risks you take in this game. And, you know, I think if he would have gotten traded at the time, there would have been hell to pay from Padres faithful. So I don't really blame him for sticking with him, but we'll have to wait and see how this injury impacts him over the long course of his career. We'll be remembering this tweet, Nika.
Okay.
Hey, we got some breaking news.
We do?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
This bullet just handed to me.
And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Listen up, everybody. All right, we did have breaking news, and I thought it was only fitting that we had like the world like because this news involves the World Baseball Classic, that is. And we got a couple more player announcements. Of course, we have Aaron Judge, as already announced, captain for Team USA, and Fernando Tatis Jr. declaring for the Dominican Republic. And he will now be joined by his former Padre teammate, Juan Soto. He will be playing for Team Dominican Republic. Who's going to play right field, I wonder?
And a former Yankee.
If I'm trying to win, Fernando's playing right field. Sorry, Juan. You cannot play defense as good as Fernando.
Soto is also a former Yankee.
Former Yankee, indeed. So he will probably have to play against Aaron Judge at some point if the Dominican Republic doesn't choke like they did last time in the World Baseball Classic.
Well, he has to play against Aaron Judge this weekend for the Subway rivalry.
He does. So he's probably more focused on that right now.
Yeah.
I'll be focused on that as soon as we're done recording this show because I'm definitely excited to check out some rivalry weekend matchups. Speaking of Team USA, they announced their first pitcher joining the roster, and it was the American badass of baseball, Paul Skeens. And I mean that literally because this dude was in the Air Force before he pitched at LSU. He went to the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and he's a true like American patriot kind of guy. So I thought he was a lock for this team, and I wasn't wrong.
Nope.
He is announced as the first pitcher for next year's World Baseball Classic on any team that I've seen so far.
He's the first pitcher.
Yes, at least from MLB that's announced and
Okay.
declared. So congratulations to Paul Skeens. Now, after this happened, poor Paul Skeens became the entire topic of conversation in the baseball world outside of Pete Rose because ESPN's own Jeff Passan, who is a columnist and a mouthpiece, I guess, for the establishment. I kid, but he is one of baseball's establishment meatheads, as I'll call them. He is in a long list with Ken Rosenthal and Bob Nightingale and others. He's always reporting breaking news on the trading deadline day. Definitely a true insider. No one should knock that or discount that. He joined his ESPN colleague, Pat McAfee, on his show, PMS Live. It is, well, the conversation turned to Paul Skeens, and we have to play this and talk about this because Paul Skeens is being put in a awkward position, I should say, with his employer right now, the Pittsburgh Pirates, because I think of Jeff Passan and these comments.
Okay.
Let's take a listen to what he had to say about where things stand with the Pittsburgh Pirates and Paul Skeens right now.
The realistic future of Paul Skeens in his baseball career. Like the Pirates can trade him at any time. Is that accurate?
Yes.
And
yes, let's start here, Pat. It's not just Paul Skeens who deserves better; it's Pittsburgh Pirates fans
concur
who deserve better.
I think we should all agree with that.
What, by trading him, they deserve better?
Well, I think he's not talking about that yet. He's just saying that Paul Skeens and Pittsburgh Pirate fans deserve to have a better team.
Correct.
You know, I think there's some interesting wording being used here about deserve. Like, nobody deserves anything really when it comes to like having a good baseball team on the field. I think the Pirates get what they deserve when you look at the attendance at some of their games. Unfortunately, like aside from a Paul Skeens giveaway, they can't fill the house, and they have a beautiful stadium and a beautiful bridge to get there, and so they can't fill the house there. And so I understand the point that he's making is that, but to group Paul Skeens in there, Paul Skeens is a member of that team. So I don't think it's right to necessarily pit him against the Pirates right now. He hasn't been winning his games. He hasn't been going out there and throwing blanks completely. He gave up 3 home runs to the Cubs a few weeks ago, and we talked about it here in 1 inning. So he hasn't been a flawless diamond like he was last year. And one could argue that he had a worse team around him last year.
They did improve from last year, the Pirates.
At least on paper, they improved. Now, they already fired their manager because they feel like they were improved on paper and they were not performing well. And they just put in the new manager. It's not an interim manager. It's a new manager. So
give him a chance.
I think what we're about to hear from Jeff Passan is a little bit premature. Let's let it roll.
And they deserve a system that allows teams to keep great players, right? Now, in some cases, guys will stay with small market teams. We've seen that. Bobby Witt Jr. signed for 11 years and $288 million with the Kansas City Royals. We saw Joe Mauer stick around
for a second. He just started to mention Joe Mauer. He mentioned Bobby Witt Jr. Like, look, every team should have a superstar player in baseball. All 30 of them. There's no questions for me about that. I want all the teams to have a superstar and to have a team culture built around it. I want there to be extremely high competition from team to team to team to team. It doesn't need to be New York, LA all the time. It does not need to be this way. In fact, I would argue it's better for the game and for the growth of the game for that to be the opposite. I don't know. What do you think, Nika?
I think every team deserves to have a superstar. If you start gobbling up all the superstars to one side, to one team, the baseball game is lopsided. Who are these guys, the superstars, going to play against?
Yeah, I just want to quickly give my thoughts on small market teams and superstars. Like, why shouldn't they? What I don't understand. Like, we've seen some superstars stay with their team. Like, why wouldn't they?
The way he comes across when he says this, he's like dissing the players that stay with the smaller market.
Yeah, it does come across as a diss a little bit to Bobby Witt Jr. Like, oh, you took only $288 million.
Right.
It's
and you stay with a small market team. It's like, why not? It's still a team. The city believes in me. The team believes in me. What's wrong with that?
Well, let's continue to listen to him because this is about to get worse.
No.
Around in Minnesota, like there are plenty of instances where guys will stay with smaller market teams. But what incentive does Paul Skeens have to extend with the Pirates when the Pirates haven't shown the willingness from either Bob Nutting all the way down or the ability to bring in guys who are going to make this team better? The Pirates haven't shown.
I don't know where everyone thinks the Pirates are in their development, but they are not in a position to necessarily just go all in right now. It doesn't mean that they're not looking at their chips, though, on a table in the back room and looking at this strategically and saying, like, hey, we might push all in next year or the year after, or they might be looking at free agents 2-3 years down the line and saying, like, hey, when Skeens is in year number 6, we might be able to put a winning competition championship team on the field. You just don't know what those internal conversations are. So I think it's a little bit of a reach for him to say this. Now, having said that, the track record with the Pirates is not good.
Okay, that's fine. But this whole call to action to trade or not sign Paul Skeens is very premature. He was a rookie last year. This is a new manager. Where is the patience?
He literally just celebrated his year anniversary in being in the big leagues. It's like, I don't understand why anyone thinks like, I don't know. We haven't heard an extension around him at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like we did with Merrill, like we have with Pete Crow-Armstrong even. We haven't heard the Paul Skeens extension stories. You know, we don't follow the Pittsburgh local media as much as maybe we do the Cubs and the Padres. But we still haven't seen a lot of these like people talking about this. This is the first I've heard really in the mainstream media talking about Paul Skeens being extended with the Pirates. So let's go on because Jeff Passan has a solution.
Oh.
That they are worthy of a Paul Skeens extension at this point. And so what it comes down to is the Pirates, including 2025, have 5 years of club control before he reaches free agency. If they believe that they have absolutely no chance of signing him, then they should trade him. And you can make the argument that they should trade him now. I'm not going to because I think the Pirates, with some of the players that they have coming up.
All right, pause it. This is hilarious. He literally backtracks right after he puts this thought out into the universe because, like I said, no one I heard before this clip said that the Pirates should trade Paul Skeens right now.
Mm-hmm.
I've not heard anyone say that. And yet he says right afterwards that, oh, they shouldn't do that.
Is he confused?
I'm just pointing out the fact that, like, you put this thought into the universe, this conflicting thing, this thing that's going to create conflict,
Mm-hmm.
and then you turn right around and say, like, I'm not trying to make this happen, or I'm not talking about this. And I just don't understand where you're going with that. Like, why even bring this up in the first place?
Create drama.
Create drama.
Artificially created drama. Because now Paul Skeens will have that thought in his back of his head, and like, should I stay? Should I go?
Well,
it will affect you.
We're gonna keep talking about this. Let's finish out the clip because we're almost done, and I want to get all of his thoughts out there and then bring them all back together.
They would have a chance to win if they were to go out and actually bring in some offensive players and sign some free agents. But the truth is, like, there are teams that already are going to ask about Paul Skeens at the trade deadline this year. And I don't anticipate that he's going to be moved, but there's a real argument to be made that the best thing for the Pittsburgh Pirates would be to move Paul Skeens when he has his most value.
Every year.
It's a depressing reality.
I get it. Yeah. What is the reality?
I don't know. It seems like Pat McAfee is a Pittsburgh fan, or like.
Well, he's on the East Coast, so yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know which teams he roots for, but just hearing him groan in the background as he hears Jeff Passan saying, like, the best thing for the Pirates is to trade Paul Skeens, and hearing Pat like, oh, like, I mean, yeah, if I'm a Pirates fan, I'm thinking the same thing. It's like,
why? Why not just wait another season and see where we at with the new management?
I guess what I don't like or understand about this is we just had a managerial change.
Mm-hmm.
And it just feels like this is a thought that's being planted in the baseball universe, like, to get Paul Skeens out of Pittsburgh. We feel sorry for him. You know, on our last episode, we played a clip of Paul Skeens talking to the Pittsburgh media after Derek Shelton, the manager, was fired. And I can't help but think that Jeff Passan saw this clip and was like, I feel really sorry for Paul Skeens. I think I'm going to go help him get freed. You know, and I feel really bad doing that to Pirates fans, but, you know, I care about Paul Skeens. It's like, no, you don't. You care about creating conflict and drama. That's why you said this in the first place. You know how to sell modern media to people. It's all about conflict and drama.
Where is he trying to push Paul Skeens into?
I don't
Yankees,
know.
the
Probably.
Dodgers?
Maybe. Could they have enough arms? Do they need a third pitching staff to get through the season? Like, I think they had 2 bullpen games already this week. I don't know.
Yeah, they did.
The point is obviously it feels like there's an unnecessary will here to prematurely have this conversation. Our team's going to legitimately pick up the phone at the trading deadline and call the Pirates and ask about Paul Skeens. Probably. They wouldn't be doing their jobs otherwise if they didn't. But is there a realistic shot that Paul Skeens is going to be traded to some other team this year at the deadline? I would say highly, highly unlikely. And
Not even as a renter.
They're like they might burn PNC Park down if they trade Paul Skeens this year. You saw the lines of people on this podcast of people waiting to get in on his bobblehead day. It's the only day they could sell tickets in mass to Pittsburgh Pirates games right now. Is if there's some kind of Paul Skeens giveaway, you bet the lines will be packed out the door, down the bridge, around the corner. So him putting this thought into the universe is just preying on the feelings of Pirates fans right now. To me, that's how it feels and comes across a little bit. I don't think there's any real chance that Paul Skeens gets traded this year. I don't think there was any reason to talk about it in those terms. And
that's mainstream media for you. Jumping the sharks, creating conflict.
I just think this was a little bit tactless on his part, and there was no reason to literally discuss it. Am I saying the Pirates ownership has done a great job? No, I'm not.
That's not the conversation.
But they drafted Paul Skeens.
Yes.
They had every right to do that, and he owes them, as someone that wants to play in this league, he owes them to go out there and do his best every time. And that's on him to do.
Yeah.
And so far, we haven't seen the Paul Skeens that we've seen last year on this year's team. So let's wait maybe until he's pitching like that again to go and start defending him for something that doesn't need to be defended. All right. We can hear from Paul Skeens if you want, but I don't think we need to. I'm ready to move on from this. All right. We're going to cut that out when we post it. Okay. Well, with that, it's time to hear from Bugs Bunny.
Oh, really?
Bit. Yeah, it's time for Extra Innings.
Read all about it.
All right. Extra, read all about it. And Nika.
Yes.
First up, we have Bryce Harper, who cut his hair.
I see.
He cut off those flowing locks, and he went and buzzed it.
He's got some thick hair, I have to say. Nice hair.
Really jealous of the thickness, especially on the top rear part of what appears to be a full head of hair. Congratulations to you, sir, on that, first and foremost. Yeah, I don't know what to make of this new look. I guess I feel like the old look was more fun. And so I hope we don't get more outbursts or ejections and things of that nature. No, in all seriousness, this is just fun, I think, to see the before and after. And which look do you prefer, Nika?
I like the longer hair, but that's because it looks cool in pictures.
Of course. I think we've all grown accustomed to it, and it's been a part of Bryce Harper's personality almost for so long. So we'll have to wait and see how it all
plays out. Okay.
All right. Well, I saw this posted on Monday night in San Diego. MLB posted Action Jackson on full display. And if you look closely, Nika, you can see a lot of orange in Jackson's attire. And first off, this took me right back to the retro, like 70s, early 80s Padres colors, where orange and gold were both a part of it with the brown. And in the later years, when they brought back this brown color, they only brought back the gold, not the orange. I like the brown and gold, always have since they brought it back. But I do have to say that the orange splash is a very, very nice touch and a very nice nod to the Padres of yesteryear. It turns out there was a big reason for this orange splash on Jackson's first home game, by the way, since he was activated from the injured list. So welcome back for that. Welcome home. But if you'll see on the next tweet from Annie Heilbrunn, she pointed out that Nike has a deal with Jackson Merrill, and these were his first player-exclusive cleat designs. And he chose these colors specifically for the San Diego official football club, the soccer team of San Diego that is also partly owned by Manny Machado. So a cool little San Diego sports tribute thing going on here, and I wanted to point it out because San Diego needs that love. They, of course, lost the Clippers, and then they lost the Chargers. They lost their basketball team and their American football team. They now have a football team, a soccer team, and so it's good to see the local, Jackson just planted that 10-year flag here to stay and be the center fielder for the Padres. So good to see some intercity unity amongst the teams here, and maybe we'll get some more sports teams in San Diego over the years. I would love it.
That would be great. And the orange looks fantastic. I wish they would bring it back, the retro look.
Yeah,
with the font.
I have to say, seeing this, and you can flip to the next slide if you want, just to see this is the San Diego Football Club X banner at the top of their page, just so you can see what their logo and their color scheme look like and how Jackson got those colors out of it. But I do want to say I agree with you about the orange, and I think I want to put a thought out there into the universe that the Padres need to all wear orange underneath their brown and gold jerseys and orange shoes in the postseason.
Why underneath?
Well, I just mean as like the under sleeves
I see.
part, or like the sockies, maybe the
like
shoes,
accents.
The accents. Make the accents all orange and do it as a team, and do it as like a playoff intimidation factor. The Bulls used to always wear black shoes in the playoffs together, and it was cool.
Oh wow!
And it was a little bit of an intimidation factor. Like you knew to kick it up a notch for the postseason because everyone had the black shoes on.
Okay.
So here we are. I like seeing this. I think we're going to see this again, I predict, tomorrow night, because San Diego Football Club has a home game tomorrow night in San Diego, and so do the Padres. And I wonder if Jackson will slip on the orange in tribute to let everyone know that there is a football game in San Diego as well.
Okay, so maybe we need to bring back the orange.
Maybe.
Nice.
All right, well, we got one more quick little video for you, and this happened at good old Citi Field, where the Mets play, and boy, oh boy, can you see it on the screen?
Yeah, I see a raccoon.
Yes, a raccoon made its way into the stadium and started mingling with the spectators, and yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is hilarious, everybody. You can see on the end there.
He was just wondering, like, there's nothing.
Oh, I'm sure he's looking for food.
Oh, I know, but it's nothing phases him or her.
I know. It's so funny. And this whole situation just was I've never seen this in a game in my lifetime that I remember. Like,
I think this raccoon knows his way around the stadium. He's been there for a
you
few
think
times.
so? I wonder if he just got hungry and decided not to wait for everyone to leave this time.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
That's my guess.
He's definitely in the upper levels there,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
He knows his way around, like you said.
And he doesn't look too skinny.
He does not look too skinny.
No.
He's been eating well at the ballpark.
Do you think him and some rat have a little bat together who gets more food after the game since it's in New York?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Is he picking for others, or is it all his? Like, is he the raccoon king of New York?
I don't know, but it's hilarious.
It's hilarious. It got me thinking, Nika. Is there a animal that you would want to go to a ball game with?
Yeah, bring a horse.
You want to bring a horse? Why a horse to the ball
I'm
game?
Just kidding.
I mean, do you want to take it instead of the elevator up to the upper levels?
Well, you will sit higher so you can see better.
Oh, you can always see over everybody. Good one. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can just leave whenever.
You can leave.
Who's gonna stop you?
Wow, these are some good responses.
As a domesticated animal.
If I were to bring an animal to a ball game with me, it would be a parrot, and we would sit right behind home plate, and I would make sure the parrot would impersonate the umpire. So when the umpire went strike, the parrot would go strike. and just mimic everything he saw the whole game from the umpire. And the umpire would probably think someone's mocking him, right? And it would probably mess with him, and he might accidentally eject Mike Schilt or something.
That's an interesting concept.
Yeah, I thought that would be fun.
Like one of those big macaws, those big parrots.
Yeah, maybe they punch him out at the end, like, and the parrot's like,
well, make sure you get to the Pirates game.
This is a great parrot face I'm making.
Make sure you have eye patch and the Pirate game.
Oh, yeah. Bring a parrot to the Pirate game. That's a good one, Nika. Maybe we can have that promotion to bring the fans back.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Perfect.
Well, this was a Friday fun episode of the Kanika Sports Show, and we are going to get off the air now. But before we do, just want to give you guys all a friendly reminder to please like and subscribe to our show wherever you are watching or happen to be hearing this content. It means a great deal to us. And, oh, by the way, there's a link to a coffee page in the description of this episode and all of our content. And if you happen to click upon it and are feeling generous, we would love a warm cup of Joe. It will keep us going and producing this show and pumping out this content for you guys on a weekly, daily basis. Who knows? We're here for it, and we're here for all the stories that come across our desk. Nika, do you have anything to add on this lovely Friday afternoon?
Definitely. It's lovely. Enjoy the Rivalry Weekend wherever you are, whichever team you are following or rooting for. We will be here for you, and we will be here Monday.
Absolutely, we will. And just before we get off the air, scoreboard update, top of the 7th in Chicago. It is Cubs 8, White Sox 3. Top of the 7th, and there are 2 outs.
Wow.
So 7 more for a Go Cubs Go, Nika.
Okay, so that's good.
All right.
You think they're going to win?
I do.
They're singing Go Cubs Go!
Yep.
Go Cubs Go!
I think they're going to sing the song in Wrigley today. And, yeah, I think that Pope luck is about to run out for the Chicago White Sox, everybody.
Okay.
All right, just joking. Little humor before we head off this Friday afternoon. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be back shortly with more content right here on the Kanika Sports Show. Adios.
Bye.